How many times you have tried to optimize your health by eating healthier, exercising more, starting all over again on Monday and then doing it all over again? Well, let me tell you something. Balance doesn't mean staying constantly in the middle. And this we will talk about in today's episode. What all balance means, how to stay there and stay healthy and live happy life. Welcome to today's episode. If we think the word balance, it means something in the middle. But keeping the balance doesn't mean that you are standing in the midpoint, just stable there. Balance can mean the sum of opposites. Sometimes those opposites can be really extreme, like visiting in extreme ends of the both sides. Sometimes it's just little fluctuation nearby the midline. But yes, it's sum of opposites. Sometimes in life it can be intentional, but it can be also unintentional. Sometimes we decide to shift between these 2 points, and sometimes this just happens because life happens. So intentional or unintentional, we do it to get excited, to learn, to heal. And to clarify, just changing between these 2 points doesn't mean that you are shifting between them one after another one. So sometimes you are repeating the one end more than 5 times before changing the direction. And yes, sometimes it can include staying in the middle. Maybe it's just for a moment, but then again, we are trying to find it. The balance that keeps us healthy and happy. So let me give you an example of this. Maybe you have heard of the 20-80 rule. It can be used, for example, to sleep, to exercise, to social life, for your eating. Quite often it's used when we talk about how we eat. So 80% healthy eating, so eating that supports your health, and 20% can be whatsoever, kind of relaxed mindset. So 80% kind of super good and 20% more relaxed. That's the 80-20 rule. But even with that rule, it doesn't mean that it needs to be followed every single day. And why is that? So as the 20% tells you, this idea is based on flexibility. And what flexibility means? It means it's not needed to be 80-20 every single time you are doing something, but instead you need to look a bigger picture. Meaning that maybe sometimes it shifts, like you eat 80% whatsoever and 20% of those things that support your health. But that can fit into the actual rule to 80-20. 80 healthy, 20 whatsoever. So this situation where it would be shift for a while, it can actually fit into the actual rule when you look at the bigger picture. I will give you an example of my personal life. Don't judge me. So I did my master's thesis, which was really hectic time. I did it in another country with totally new topic. I used English, which is not my mother language. And of course, everything breaks down in the last minute. And it's, as a concept, it's already it's a lot of work. So during that time, although I understood that eating healthy, sleeping well enough, doing exercise would support me and my energy levels. So I understood it would help me, but at the time I really just needed to be fast with cooking, preferably not cooking at all. I tried to sleep enough, but the stress levels were higher. So I didn't follow my 80-20 rule. I actually ate nachos and guacamole as a lunch for several weeks. Because that made me happy, that was something fast, and I got things done. And I knew when I will get my stress levels down, I will go back to my normal habits. And it did happen. I went back to my normal eating and normal sleep and normal exercise and normal social life, so normal everything. But for that time, I didn't follow that at all. I didn't have time for social life for sure. But when I zoom out, I can see that time fits into that rule. So I don't need to stay in the middle all the time. When we think the whole concept, why we shift between things when trying to find the balance, sometimes it is because we need to learn from extremes. Our bodies, our minds, they change throughout the life. Sometimes we feel a little bit lost. We have changed. We don't know yet what fits to us in this new situation. So we need to visit a little bit extreme sides to figure it out. Where is the balance again? Maybe you used to be a person who enjoys partying a lot, being surrounded by people, and suddenly you are not so sure anymore. So you will go to the cottage, be alone there, completely extreme what you used to be. And from there you can maybe see that maybe some company would be nice. Maybe not this long time spending alone is the best thing for me. So you are learning from that extreme, being able to come to the more balanced situation. And even then when you have learned, you will maybe shift depending on your routine and your needs in your daily life. In addition to learning, this shifting between two endpoints can help us to grow and heal. So sometimes we just need to step out from our comfort zone to some direction to see if we need to grow in some things. Maybe you have been eating really healthy for a really long time, eating just certain products, and maybe there is something you need to try and see if it triggers you, and maybe it is something you need to do the work with. Maybe you are avoiding something because you are afraid of something. So you need to step a little bit aside from the midpoint to be able to see, is this something that would be beneficial to work with, to make me feel better? And it is not just about learning and growing and healing, all that work, which will pay off, I promise. But it's also because our minds are seeking excitement. Habits makes life easier, going smoother. So those are totally fine and supporting our everyday life. But sometimes we need a little bit excitement by trying something new. Maybe you have done running for many years and then you're like, yeah, this is keeping me balanced. But it's not exciting anymore. So you start to either changing the whole hobby, maybe to another hobby, or changing the schedule or the way you do it. Just a little bit movement or your daily routines. Maybe having a week off from whole exercise, or 2 or 3, and then going back to your exercise routines. Just to get excited again. As you can see, there are many reasons why finding the balance by shifting between things is good for us. So please find your way to have the balance in your life. And why this is important to understand that it doesn't need to mean that you will stay in the middle the whole life. Of course, now you understand that our body and mind will change throughout our lives. But why it's important to accept this? Let me tell you why. The why is, if we are really trying to stay in the middle all the time, like being the perfect versions who are perfectly performing everything all the time, no mistakes, and life happens, something happens, you might start stressing about it, that now I'm not in the middle, it's not good. So you start to stress and maybe blame that how I couldn't keep myself there, how I couldn't have the control. Yeah, these might be the thoughts. And sometimes those are like awakening calls. That okay, I need to do something for this. But if it's continuing constantly, guess what? It doesn't help. It doesn't help you if you are stressing and blaming yourself about not having a control. The willingness to trying to find the balance again needs to come from somewhere else. You need to change your tone. And secondly, life is for living. And yes, taking care of your health will make your life better and possibly longer. But remember that part of your health is also your mental health. And balancing between things doesn't need to mean that you are living an unhealthy life. Just find your way to have the balance, support your body and mind to keep going, to enjoy life. Alright, thank you. That's all from today's episode. See you on next time. Bye.